Now, a story out of Manville, Alberta, where two Indigenous siblings are putting a unique spin on holiday decorations. For more, here's Tate Laycraft.
I can even make them tiny, tiny.
Yeah. Arlene Folk has been weaving dream catchers for years, but it wasn't until last December that she decided to put a new spin on the project.
It was for Mom's birthday, and we wanted to do something special for her. So we made her a 12-foot lit-up dream catcher. It helped raise her spirits. It was good.
At Arlene's side in crafting the catcher was her little brother Earl. He says that they had to get creative in finding parts to get the job done.
We sourced a 12-foot old trampoline hoop from our younger sister, and my sister Arlene. It was at 20 below weather. She weaved the whole 12-foot dream catcher, and then I did it with lights afterwards. And after that, it just took off.
Across Manville at the Confectionery 881 convenience store, Arlene's dream catchers were already on the wall. But when owner Jocelyn Lenovis caught a glimpse of the siblings' new project, she had to add another to her collection.
So we went, took a look at it. I said, absolutely, I want that. And it took us about a year to be able to figure out how and when and all the details.
The second 12-foot dream catcher was then installed outside the store, which has since triggered an onslaught of requests from all across the prairies.
We really have been going gangbusters with these 3.5-footers. I kind of figured that they would be the best of our line, and sure enough, they're not 12-footers that you can't move. You can take these wherever you want to go.
With Christmas less than 3 weeks away, the siblings are still taking requests as they continue to honor and modernize Indigenous culture. Tate Laycraft, Primetime Local News.
The city is looking to build a new event arena sooner than originally planned after reports showed the Civic Center's condition has deteriorated further. Testing was conducted this spring on the Civic Center and found additional damage since the 2019 inspections. According to the report, the deterioration does not pose a critical structural threat. Short-term repairs are being done to fill the holes on the arena's beams. The Civic Center now has an expected lifespan of 2 to 4 years.
The city will ensure that the safety is paramount for users, participants in the Civic Center, and it will be monitored accordingly.
Due to the reduction in the facility's lifespan, the city is looking to fast-track the process of building a new arena with a targeted opening date of fall 2025. The city has already hired an architectural firm that are evaluating possible locations for a new rink, and branding work is underway on the project.
A lot of energy put into A, where will that building go? B, what will that building look like? C, where's the money going to come from?
Council is expected to see a report on the proposed location of the new arena on Monday. The Lloydminster RCMP have recently welcomed a new 4-legged officer to their detachment, and he is looking to sniff out crime in the border city.
Bring that up, buddy, and he'll tug on this ball forever.
Constable Tim Feasby and Mazzy are the latest members of the Lloydminster RCMP. Mazzy, like other police dogs, are from Innisfail, Alberta. When police dogs are young, they start working with imprinters before they get assigned to their handlers.
An imprinter's job is kind of to point that puppy in the right direction of police work, like socialization, familiarizing the puppy with all the things that it could come across in a police dog type of setting or environment. If those dogs meet the tests and pass the tests that are required to move on to the next stage of selection, they're then paired up with a handler.
Constable Feasby had been an imprinter before he officially became a handler, a process that takes a few years to complete. Mazzy recently celebrated his 2nd birthday, but the two have only been working together for 5 months.
We came out of training September 3rd, we graduated. We went back to Regina and continued training while I waited my transfer here to Lloydminster. We arrived in Lloyd, I think it was November 27th. And so we've only been on the job for about 4 days now, so we're still getting used to everything.
Police dogs can be trained in a variety of skills and situations. Certain dogs are full profile, which means they have been trained for many scenarios, and other dogs are single profile, where they just specialize in one area. Mazzy is a full-profile police dog.
He's trained in criminal apprehension, tracking, searching, locating evidence, locating people. He's also specifically trained in drugs as well. So he's trained to locate illegal substances.
Each day, Constable Feasby gets to bring Mazzy home after work, where they spend time together hanging out with his family, playing and relaxing. But at the end of the day, Constable Feasby is glad he gets to call Mazzy his partner.
He loves me unconditionally. He doesn't talk back. He listens to what I say. So it can be a lonely job sometimes when you're driving around and you're talking and having coffee with your dog.
Now Shelby Clark will take a first look at tonight's forecast.
Thanks so much, Jazz. And now taking a first look at your weather forecast for here in the border city. We are sitting at -10 degrees right now with a mix of some sun and cloud. We did see a lot more cloud coverage throughout the day, and with that wind chill, we are feeling more like -16, but we will be warming up a little bit later on through the week. Switching over to our temperatures across the region for Alberta and Saskatchewan. On the Alberta side, -9 in Lac-La-Biche, while it is also -8 in St. Paul and Vegreville, as well as down in Vermilion. Marwayne and Cold Lake are both at -12 degrees, while it is -14 in Bonnyville. Edmonton's slightly warmer at -5 right now, while Wainwright and Provost are at -10, -12 degrees. But also in the central and southern parts of Alberta right now, we do have a special warning in effect for freezing rain later on through the evening and through the night, so that will impact some travel and road conditions for drivers out there. So please be careful if you are driving throughout the night and to tomorrow morning. Switching over to Saskatchewan side here, they are seeing some slightly cooler temperatures with -21 and up in Isle Cross there, -17 degrees in Green Lake, while it is -16 in Meadow Lake and St. Walburg, -13 in Pearson, while Maidstone is at -12, Macklin is at -11, and North Battleford is sitting at -14 degrees. And for North Battleford overnight tonight, they will be going down to a low of -20 throughout the night, so they will be cooling down quite a bit. They will be seeing around a 60% chance of some flurries throughout the night, and tomorrow those flurries will continue while they go up to -4 for their daily high tomorrow. Switching over to Cold Lake overnight, they'll be going down to a low of -15 degrees. They will be seeing a high chance of some flurries as well. Tomorrow they will be seeing -4 for their high, and those flurries will be continuing. And for here in the border city, we'll be going down to a low of -14 degrees, so we will be cooling down quite a bit. We will be seeing some flurries as well tonight. Tomorrow we will warm up to -1 for our high, but we will be seeing those flurries and some more snowfall, so expect to see some more snow tomorrow. And now switching over to our 3-day forecast for here in the border city. As I was saying, we'll be seeing those flurries continue on tomorrow with a lot more cloudier skies. Thursday we'll see a mix of some sun and cloud at -4 degrees, and Friday we'll start off this warmer weekend with -6 on Friday with a little bit more sun peeking behind those clouds. That's the first look at your weather forecast. We'll have more news coming up after the break.
Welcome back. Research from Agriculture and Agri-Food Canada suggests that when it comes to seeding, farmers should toss the calendar and listen to the land. Our Jillian Code has more on the research of early seeding.
Today, I'm joined by Brian Barris. He is a senior research scientist with Agriculture and Agri-Food Canada based in Lethbridge. He's been working on research that is slightly unconventional. Brian, what can you tell me about your research on early seeding?
It kind of arose from a thought that I had when I was actually driving down to Montana for a meeting about 2012, so coming on almost 10 years now. And what struck me was it was late March. It was one of those years where it was dry. And so the farmers down there weren't seeding, but they were actually out prepping fields and whatnot. And the thing that struck me always when it came to, especially Southern Alberta, but a lot of other regions too, is that, that we only really planted when we thought it was, appropriate based on a calendar date. And yet here I am, and there's these guys going at the end of March. So they're clearly not as worried about a calendar date. They're just going when they think they can go. And so that was sort of the impetus behind the whole project. And then, taking an idea like that and then stacking on, different components of a system to see, do we need special genetics? Do we have to alter management and so on? And so the idea that we coined was the phrase called ultra early seeding, and it sort of disregards calendar dates and instead has this prescriptive approach to it, where as soon as the soil temperature at the 2-inch level in the top soil surface reaches or exceeds 0 degrees and conditions allow, go plant. And don't worry about when it is. Don't worry about what comes later. Just go and plant. And so, it throws a lot of conventionality out the window, because, the first 3 years down here, the time that trigger, we call it a soil temperature trigger. Well, that trigger hit March 6th. Then the following year, it was February 16th. And then the year after that, it was April 24th or something. So you can see how unreliable a calendar date is, right? Yet we've imposed this on farmers, not from, even I think agronomists are somewhat guilty of it as well, but a lot of it derives from, the business side of things, banks imposing it, crop insurance imposing, you must be in by May 10th. And so you tell a farmer that and they're like, well, if I'm in by May 10th, it must be all good. But what we showed was that it was quite a significant reduction in yield if you waited until the recommended time to go. So it's been a little bit of an unorthodox approach that's proven itself to be quite reliable. And it at a minimum, you protect yield, but you're in earlier. But more often than not, you're getting a yield advantage as well.
That's so fascinating. It seems like it's more working with the land instead of the calendar, like you said. What were some of the results from your research?
Well, you have to be real about it as well. Like it won't necessarily happen in every location at every year on the prairies, but we did run this site as far north as Dawson Creek, British Columbia. We ran it in central and south Saskatchewan. We ran it Edmonton, central Alberta, down here. And at a minimum, you get improved yield stability. So what that means is from year to year, field to field, a farmer will get more consistent, reliable results by going with this approach, and you won't lose yield. And more often than not, you will get both yield improvement and yield stability improvement. So that's been the one big upside. But then there's all these intangible operational benefits, right? You're in earlier, because you don't know what's coming in the spring for weather. And I think that's what's been sort of a bit of a deterrent about this, is that we all know we can get hit hard by late frosts, late snowstorms. So the assumption is it's going to kill off anything that I put in too early when it comes to cereals. And that's just, we've proven that to be completely false. So that's been the upside. And the cool thing right now in the last couple of years is we've had farmers doing it. So we're really in this scale up phase now in both Alberta and Saskatchewan. We've got farmers trying it, with some trepidation, because, they're the only guy in the community trying it. But they go out and they report back that they had the best results they've ever had. Now, sometimes they report back in between that to report, oh my God, I just got 3 inches of snow, or, it's up at the 3-leaf stage and we're getting -10 frost and so on. And, the first couple of times I heard that, I was terrified too. But in the end, the results were really positive.
Brian, thank you so much for your time today.
Yeah, thanks. And thanks for your interest in it.
And now here's a look at your agriculture prices for today. One hockey player from Lloydminster is going from one coast to another. 23-year-old defenseman Cale Clegg has been picked up by the Montreal Canadiens after being placed on waivers by the LA Kings. So far this season, Clegg has 5 assists in 11 games, all with the Kings. When asked about his skill set, Clegg replied with this.
I mean, I think that's my gift. That's my strong suit. So, yeah, like I said, using my skating and puck moving ability, whether that be 5-on-5, 4-on-4, power play, that's what I'm going to try and bring.
Over his career, the young D-man has 11 points in 33 games. The Riders couldn't take the win out of Winnipeg on Sunday, losing to the Bombers 21-17 in the CFL Western Final. Now the organization is pondering what could have been while preparing for next year when Regina will host the Grey Cup game. CTV's Stephanie Davis reports.
The Saskatchewan Roughriders are feeling the effects of their season of adversity, including quarterback Cody Fajardo.
I know I'm probably not the most talented guy when it comes to being quarterback and things just come to me, but I wouldn't want to play for any other team.
Training camp injuries, losing key players throughout the season, and COVID protocols are just some challenges the team faced. And despite a deep playoff run that saw the Riders lose in the last minute of the Western Final, Fajardo says social media negativity is at an all-time high.
It's just tough when people call for your head when you do everything you can for this team.
Players say they're proud of what they accomplished this season and were just happy to play again after a year off due to the pandemic.
It's special to be able to play in front of Rider Nation every single week, to be able to play in front of the best fans in the CFL.
It was pretty binding on a lot of players, but we grinded through it, and I feel like we fought hard.
Now the focus is on next season, starting with a thorough review of the current roster.
Really look at our team inside out and involve the coaches and tell us what you think. Who do you think is the type of guys we can build our team around? Where do we need to get better?
Dickinson says he hopes to keep as many current players and coaches with the organization as possible, but says leadership is one area he hopes to build on.
You try to build a great locker room with great culture and great leadership, and then it just kind of takes over for you. And I felt like this year there was a little bit of a void.
With the 2022 Grey Cup scheduled to be played here at Mosaic Stadium, Coach Dickinson says the team will do whatever it takes to get there. He says every year the goal is to win, but having the finals played at home might encourage the team to look at signing high-impact players for 1 to 2 year contracts during the offseason. Stephanie Davis, CTV News, Regina.
Now Shelby Clark will take a look at your current temperatures.
Thanks so much, Jazz. And now taking another look at your weather forecast, we'll be looking at the central region of Alberta and Saskatchewan. Earlier, I did talk about, potential freezing rain coming for central and southern Alberta, but right here on this side between Whitecourt and Edmonton, they have the greatest potential for that freezing rain throughout the night and into tomorrow morning. Whitecourt is at -8 degrees, while it is -7 at Athabasca and Rocky Mountain House, -6 in Jasper, while it is -4 in the rest of the spots on the map here in the Alberta side. And Cold Lake is seeing -12 degrees. Switching over to the Saskatchewan side here, we are cooling down quite a bit, mostly in the central region of Saskatchewan, -16 in Meadow Lake, while there's -15 in North Battleford, -17 in Saskatoon, while Prince Albert and Melfort have reached past that -20 point at -21 and -23 degrees. Switching over to our northern region of the provinces, as you can see, they have cooled down quite a bit right now. Some have even reached past that -30 mark, as you can see, -25 degrees in Wollaston Lake and Uranium City. Stony Rapids has reached past it at -31, -33 in South End, while Flin Flon is at -28 degrees, and it is -24 and -23 in the rest there. Switching over to this end here, they're seeing mostly in this area here, they are still seeing some slightly warmer temperatures compared to the rest. Grand Prairie is at -4, while it is -7 and -9 in Peace River and Slave Lake. Fort McMurray is a bit cooler at -22 degrees. Fort Chipewyan is the coolest over on the Alberta side here with -24, and high level is at -18 degrees. As we switch over to our southern region of the provinces, as you can see, they're not struggling too much right now. They are seeing a beautiful start to their December for their month here so far. Lethbridge is at +3 right now. Medicine Hat and Coronation and Banff are all at -8 degrees, and it is -3 in Calgary. Switching over to this end here, they're seeing some slightly cooler temperatures compared to the Alberta side. For our southern region here, they reached double digits in most spots. Moose Jaw is at -9 degrees, -10 in Swift Current, while it is -12 in Kindersley, -13 and 14 in Estevan and Regina, and Yorkton is at -17. As we go back across the region, the temperatures overnight tonight, we are cooling down quite a bit in most spots, and as you can see, we will be seeing a high chance of some flurries in Meadow Lake, Isle Cross, Pearceland, Paradise Hill, and Bonnyville, while the rest will be seeing more of a big chance of some freezing rain throughout the night. But Myrna will be seeing a low of -11 degrees, while there will be a low of -14 in Bonnyville and Provost. Wainwright will be seeing a low of -13, while Isle Cross and Unity will be seeing the coldest at a low of -20 degrees, and Pearceland and Meadow Lake will be seeing a low of -16 and -18. And looking at temperatures tomorrow across the region, we will be warming up just a bit there from around 0 to -3 in most spots, and Isle Cross will be probably the coolest tomorrow, seeing -9 degrees. And now ending off with our 7-day forecast for here in the border city, we will be seeing close to 100% chance of some flurries tomorrow, so expect to see some more snowfall. Thursday and Friday, we'll see a mix of some sun and cloud at -4 and -6, and we'll see a warmer weekend with -1 on both days on Saturday and Sunday, and we'll be cooling down next week, starting off on Monday with -9 and -8 on Tuesday. That's another look at your weather forecast. We'll have more news coming up after the break.
Welcome back, everybody, to this edition of the Pet Project. We're joined once again with Becca Lawrence from the Lloydminster and Community SPCA. How's everything going over there this week, Becca?
We're doing really good.
That's good. That's good. And I hear we got a special friend to show this week, so let's get started off right. You wanted to introduce everybody to Tate.
Yeah, this handsome guy here is Tate. He's actually one of our longest residents. So he has, everyone's kind of heard about the sickness that went through the shelter, and, he was one of the ones that beat it and everything. And yeah, he's just, so he first came in, he was a bit of a roughhouser. He still is, as you can see, there's no way getting this wand away from him. So we do recommend him to go to a home with either older children or no children at all. We even think that a shop would be a really good option for him, because I mean, you see that grip there, there's no mousies are going to be getting away from this guy. So his friend down below feels the same way as well too. But yeah, so Tate, we would just like to find Tate a home for Christmas and get him out of here and find him that family that he so deserves.
Well, I can tell already just by looking at him, he is obviously a very experienced hunter. Like that one didn't have a chance. So anybody out there, if you got a shop, maybe you got a barn, you live just outside of town and you're looking for a good mouser, I think Tate is the cat for you. He looks like he's good at what he does. Beautiful. So, Becca, we also have a very exciting fundraiser coming up, my favorite of the whole year, which is obviously you guys are doing the Jail and Bail again. So, do you want to just give us an update about how all that's all coming together?
Yeah, so I pretty much have finished up collecting all of my donation items. I got a couple more people that I'm going to ring up just to see if they have theirs ready to go. But yeah, yesterday I spent majority of the day taking pictures of all of them, so I'm hoping to have a couple sneak peeks out this coming week, just to kind of get people interested in what's going to be at the silent auction. And then just kind of rounding up my participants page as well too, getting the website set up for that, and we're going to be ready for next Thursday.
Yeah, we're all excited over here. Obviously, I mentioned last week, but our Shelby Clark will be participating. So certainly, keep an eye out, watch our Facebook, watch the SPCA's social medias. There's going to be lots of stuff to keep you entertained that day. Wonderful. Well, we also spoke about something off camera, which is that you guys are coming up to the time where a lot of your fosters are coming back into the shelter, and you guys are going to have another large influx of animals, unfortunately. So why don't you, I guess, let the people know what you're looking for to kind of help out with this transition. I know, obviously, new fosters would be great.
Yeah, we can always use more fosters because, fostering's a hard job. So, every once in a while, our fosters need to take a little bit of a break, which is absolutely fine and understandable. So, we're always looking to build our foster list. And you know, even it's nice for the animals if there's any fosters out there that are staying home for Christmas, and even if they, you know, want to take an animal home for the holidays while we're closed, just to give them that extra attention, even get them out of the shelter a little bit, anything like that. But yeah, you know, our thankfully, and knock on wood, but our kittens have slowed down a little bit, so that's been nice. But yeah, you know, with this cold weather, we're going to be getting more and more cats in.
So yeah, if you wanted to, you know, give a Christmas gift to a wonderful animal in need, taking them in for a little bit would certainly be something that would help the animal, it'd help the SPCA, and of course you would have a lot of fun with it, I'm sure. And one last thing to touch on before we go, Becca, but as everybody out there I'm sure is aware of, it is the Christmas season, and you know what? The animals deserve a little bit of Christmas love. They deserve something under the tree too, so we wanted to chat about how it would be really great if we could get some toys for the animals.
Yeah, you know, we can always use more dog and cat toys. The cats love the ones we've gotten tons in so far in the last couple months. But, you know, when we try to send some home with them too, especially if they have a favorite toy, anything like that. But yes, we would love to load up on some more toys for our dogs and cats.
There you go, everybody. So if you want to do something nice, help keep the animals entertained, help keep them active, that would be a great thing to do. Now, unfortunately, that's all the time we had this week, Becca, but I want to thank you for stopping by. I want to thank Tate for showcasing his hunter prowess there for everybody at home. So thank you once again, and we'll speak with you again next week.
Absolutely. We'll see you next week.
Manage your waste and recyclables with Quick Pick Waste Disposal. Call 780-875-4100 today or visit quickpick.ca.
Today, I'm joined by Fire Chief Lee Swicky from the Lloydminster Fire Department to get some tips on fire safety during the holiday season. So with the holidays right around the corner, there's a lot of people putting up decorations and lights. What are some things that people should be watching for from a fire safety standpoint?
A lot of the stuff that we're trying to put out there, it's pretty much the same message that's going out from most departments across Canada. You know, trees, we want to make sure that people are picking, if it's a live tree, that they're picking a healthy tree, it's green. That is moisture content's good, that they're always watering it, making sure that it's staying healthy and green. Christmas lights, we want to make sure that you're using CSA approved lights, that you're checking the connections for any damage, damage to the wire, loose connections, broken bulbs, frayed cords, things like that. If you have any of that stuff, we want to make sure that you're not using them. I would dispose them and replace them. LED lighting seems to be the wave of the future here. LED lighting actually produces less heat from a halogen type bulb, so which is always good. Plus, they're also good for conserving power. Make sure that you always turn your lights off before going to bed or leaving the house. Never leave lit candles unattended. That's a big one. It is the season that everybody likes to use candles, so burning candles should be at least 1 foot away from anything that can burn.
And so what are some of the more common accidents or calls that you guys are going to be getting throughout the holiday season?
I think a lot of the calls that we're getting now are carbon monoxide calls. It's that time of year, furnaces are kicking in more often than not. So people haven't checked their smoke detectors or their carbon monoxide detectors. And we've had a lot of false alarm type calls for those because of that. Some of the detectors haven't been replaced in that 10-year time frame. So smoke alarms and carbon monoxide detectors usually have a lifespan of 10 years. So we should check the manufacturing date. And if they're past 10 years, people should be replacing them.
And so a lot of people have probably already done this, but there's a lot of people up on ladders, hanging up lights. What are some things that they should be keeping an eye on when they're doing that?
So I would ensure that we don't have an icy ground, that you have a good footing for the ladder. should always have a spotter. Instead of doing it yourself, should always have a second person there ensuring that they're holding the ladder. Getting onto the roof, if you're on the roof putting up Christmas lights and things like that, I would ensure that you have a good footing, whether you're wearing those cleats on the bottom of your shoes or boots. Yeah, it's the ice on the roofs and the ice on the grounds that are usually going to be the bigger problems.
And with Christmas, a lot of people are going to be doing a lot of baking. They're going to have their oven on for longer. Is there anything that people should be watching out for when they're doing that?
I think the bigger concern is more of safety with young children in the kitchen area, ensuring that we're keeping enough space from, kids touching the pots, hot water on the stove, hot elements and things like that. Make sure that they have a space, or keeping kids out of the kitchen or young kids out of the kitchen while they're cooking.
And is there anywhere online where people would be able to find like a checklist or a safety list of things that they should be watching out for?
Yeah, so the National Fire Protection Association actually does have a lot of different checklists when it comes to holiday safety tips and things like that. So whether it's Thanksgiving, Christmas, or any of the holidays that are out there, we are going to work with our communications department to hopefully have something up on our city website. And then on our social media sites, we usually post something during the holiday seasons as well.
And then with winter and Christmas comes a lot of snow removal. With fire hydrants, is there anything that people should be looking out for when they're parking on the streets, just to make it easier for you guys?
So we've had this last little snow dump here that caused a little bit of havoc over the course of the week. So some of the things we have noticed is if when people are shoveling their driveways or shoveling their sidewalks, if they have that fire hydrant located within their property, it would help us out quite immensely if the public would make sure that there's a 3-foot diameter cleared around the fire hydrants. We have easy access if we required the use of them. And the other thing is to ensure that people aren't parking in front of those fire hydrants, because if they are, that makes it a little bit more difficult for us to access them in a timely manner.
Great, thank you for taking the time to meet with me.
Thank you for joining us on Primetime Local News tonight, and have a great evening.